So in continuing with getting our RV carport put in, I've contracted this stuff out because I don't have any of the equipment really needed to put up this carport, RV port I should say. If I had, the lifts and everything else, I would have done it myself. But they went ahead and put this in. I asked for these things to be 4 inches above the dirt, so the post would never be in the dirt, get wet, so it'll be good drainage. But they've put them all the way around our rig, and we have 5 on each side. They're 5 on each side. They're spaced 12 feet apart in this case, so it gives me 48 feet. And then there's 2 feet overhang both ends when this is up. So in essence, I have 52 feet of roofing going over the RV. RV is 43 feet, so I got plenty. So, and these were the first ones they put in. And what I got interesting is, made the assumption they would put them in level. Well, you can look at this one and you can see how high that corner is compared to how low this one is. So what would have taken them not even a minute to level that out, to make it, look better and all that, they just slapped it together, and that's what they call a good job. So it'll be interesting. But that is the worst one right there. This next one isn't much better. It too, you can see it's leaning downhill, coming down. And there's the other two. This is Sunday. These have been sitting in here now just over 2 weeks. They're going to be coming in Wednesday, dropping off the material. Thursday, they're supposed to start building. If they don't have an issue with it, I'm going to go ahead and we'll film them. Parts of it as they're building the RV carport. Now you can see them, they just arrived, they're the crew to put this up. They're now figuring out the elevation for each of the pier posts so that you can notice how long to make the 6x6s. And here we are starting. Well, we're getting our first post put up. The size of this thing is 20 foot wide, 48 feet long. It's supposed to be 14 foot tall. But the poles, since they're over 15 feet, they're actually going to make the roof line as tall as possible. So it'll be taller than 14 foot, just to give you extra clearance under the for the RV underneath it. So there goes the first one up. And we're now raising the last one. Like I mentioned earlier, they've already cut them to length, so they're all identical heights. The trusses on this are going to be metal, so their next phase will be to bolt the 2 halves together for the trusses before we raise them up and set them on top of here. Getting the first truss put in, and they're trying to line up with the holes at the moment. The other one, trusses are still laying here on the ground. more working area up there. And you see the gentleman down in the middle, center down here. The one who was down, he was right there. He was there. The level sensor on this thing is messing up on this one, but at least it's running. So they have to go down there and lie to it or wiggle it, the level sensor, to convince it it's level enough to continue to raise high enough, because otherwise it wouldn't go high enough for them to be able to put this together. So like for these guys, they ain't one thing as the other. On the other lift, they were telling me that level sensor has been disabled because it just gives them nothing but troubles. This isn't the same one they were here with last week, so that level sensor has not been bypassed. And they put 3 bolts on both sides for all these trusses. Sorry for the wiggling. I'm holding this by hand and don't have a mount. It's all being shot from my phone. I don't have any of those fancy cameras, GoPros or anything else. But yeah, they're going to put the bolts in. They slip them in from the outside in. The nuts are on the inside. This is the way they're installing it. So that's raising a truss. Come back with, I would assume the next step will be is putting the purlins up there. I'll come back and we're doing that one. And now we're having the purlins are going in. Kind of started somewhat in the middle. So we do have 5 posts, so they're lining them up. These things are 12 feet on center. So give them, this thing is, like I said, it's a 48-foot length. That we have. Oh, the one part I didn't talk about is in the bottom. Is these, that it's below that would be is a 16-inch diameter hole that goes down anywhere between 32 to 34 inches down for the footing going into the ground before we put the square pads on top. Because again, I just wanted to keep the posts, you know, out of the off the dirt and the water, so it wouldn't set around them. But these are below grade, so it should be all fine. Look at that, and we're getting our roof on. But you can see they're jury-rigged platform. I guess what you call how not to safely put on a roof. But this is the second lift they've gotten. They haven't not replaced it, and it's still the one that's broke. So it is still sitting on the trailer as we're doing this. But it is coming together. Well, here it is Thursday. It'll be 8 days after they started, and they finally finished putting up the RV carport. And this is the way we got our final setup. It's 20 foot wide. So in essence, what I have, which works out, is from the slide here to the wall. It's like 6 feet. So it gives us a nice place to sit, under the awning, under the roof, I guess I should say. So it works. And we come over on this side. I put this side tighter, closer to the edge. Yeah, it's got a foot or so, but it gives plenty of room over there. But we put the closed-in area there, and we put the skirts on, and it made a big difference on this thing with those skirts up there. Without them up there and they're walking around, this thing was shaking pretty good. You put those skirts on there, it'd be a lot of rigidity to those walls. So they're setting pretty good. And I'm looking to bring in a little bit more stone because I want to get it, these columns a little more level. That's why I had them built up so the stone could be down here for drainage to keep the post totally out of the water, the dirt, and everything else. So those are all setting good. Do have a pine tree I got removed though. After this went up, I was hoping to save it. I love my trees. I don't like losing trees, but if we line up and look at this, it's underneath the eaves. So that's got to go. Sorry, tree. Wanted to keep you in the worst way, but it won't happen. We got one on the other side that's close, but it should have about 3 feet of clearance from the gutters up at the top, so that should be fine. But anyway, here we are, all under our cover now. There's supposed to be a storm coming in this afternoon, this evening, so we'll see what happens. It'll be nice to have this thing out from under, the beating sun. Should make a big difference, because when you're not under that sun, it cools down nice. Humidity's horrible, follows you everywhere, but that's why we got a dehumidifier on this thing, just for that reason. So anyway, thank you for viewing this. Any questions, leave me a comment.